Folks all across this country, they're asking the big question tonight: will we or won't we shut down the government? We'll know tomorrow night at midnight. It does look like we're headed that way. J.D. Vance said so just a short while ago. You heard Tom Tiffany saying, well, maybe some Democrats will come out of the Senate and save it. We'll have to wait and see. But joining us now, someone who knows everything about the way the government spends the money. He's the Director of Government Affairs at the National Taxpayers Union, Tommy Aiello. Tommy, good to have you.
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
All right, give us your Vegas odds. Over, under. We shut down tomorrow night?
Oh, I think it's definitely a possibility that the government shuts down, and I think it's definitely going to happen. It's unfortunate. It shouldn't have to happen, but Chuck Schumer, he doesn't want to let his Democrats vote for a continuing resolution. It's really disappointing.
Yeah, it is.
But Tommy, if it does, there are a lot of people out there who are salivating so much. I picture a cartoon hobo watching a pie cool on a windowsill. They are absolutely salivating over the notion of President Trump slashing the federal workforce. Is that the silver lining?
Yeah, I come at it from two ways. One, I don't think anybody wins in a government shutdown. We pay bureaucrats to stay home. It's really unfortunate while our troops work and don't get paid. There's something really off about that. And I think it just adds to this dysfunction in Washington that we can't even do the most basic stuff. But, you know, I will say there was this memo that Russ Voigt put out a few days ago that said if the government shuts down, they're going to move forward with wide-scale firings. I don't know if that is 100% legal. It'll have to work its way through the courts, but I think it just shows you that, one, the Trump administration is serious about trimming the fat of the federal government, and I think it's a good conversation to have, and we'll see if they move forward with it.
Yeah. And Tommy, on that point, the Supreme Court has mostly sided with President Trump. Every time he's fired someone, including at independent agencies, it seems like he's on a roll there. Maybe they're banking on that. But in this case, they would argue that Congress gave them no choice, right? We can't afford to have these people, so we're just going to fire them to save money. How do you think the courts might look at that?
Yeah, to your point, look, they've already ruled a few times that said what the president is doing is within his constitutional authority to do it. There was a report out today that potentially 100,000 federal workers could be putting in their resignation letter tomorrow because of all these federal buyouts in Doge. That's a very good thing. It's a lot of people. But ironically enough, it's only a small percentage of the federal workforce. Yeah. We have about 10 million people that are employed by the federal government. So yes, on its face, it's a large number of people, but it's just a small drop in the bucket. And I'll just say one other thing about the possibility of the government shutdown. Look, this is all on the Democrats. The House of Representatives, led by Speaker Mike Johnson, they did their job. They passed a clean, continuing resolution to fund the government at current levels. And Chuck Schumer, he really has to show that he's fighting back against President Trump. He needs to show his base that he actually wants to be a fighter. And unfortunately, the American people are going to be caught in the crossfire as collateral damage.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I also wonder if that collateral damage is Democrat votes come next November, because you've got them holding out on absurdities like transgender care and, you know, health care for illegal aliens and things like that. I understand that Democrat-minded voters are on very different sides of this than a lot of conservatives and even people down the center. But I got to think that those aren't the winning issues, are they?
No, it's not. I mean, you just have to look at some of their ridiculous, unreasonable asks. They want the president to overturn the huge taxpayer savings from his one big, beautiful bill that just passed, 3 months ago. There's no way the president's going to overturn it. And then they also want to extend these COVID-era Obamacare subsidies to plus up tax credits for wealthy people that receive health care. It really is ridiculous. And I think when you add everything up, it's about $1 trillion in new spending just to keep the government open for another 7 weeks. It's absolutely ridiculous. And, you know, I think the president was exactly right in his meeting today to have the meeting to talk through some of these issues, but he's not going to budge, and he's not going to put long-term deficits on the table in exchange for a short-term continuing resolution. So we hope he continues to hold the line, and I hope Republicans in Congress do the same.
Yeah, this is a historic moment and a consequential one. If it's executed right, it could really set the Washington on a different arc. Before we let you go, we'd be remiss not to ask about this. We get closer. I've been here in this town 35 years, and they were warning about Social Security and Medicare going bankrupt back then. But now we're within the decade of it actually beginning to happen. Give us some sense. Is there anyone moving in a direction that would create some solution there, or is this really another fiscal cliff coming up over the horizon?
It's certainly a fiscal cliff looming out there. I think there's another 5 or 6 years before the program goes insolvent. It's a real problem. Not enough people are talking about it. Senator Cassidy from Louisiana, he's really shown a light on this issue. He shows a lot of leadership, and we hope he continues to do that. But again, Congress always waits to the last minute to do things, whether it's Social Security, fund the government, even the one big beautiful bill. I really think at some point there's going to have to be a critical mass and really identify the problem and fix the problem.
Yeah, it's this generation's job to fix it. We can't let it go on beyond it. So, real quickly, do you guys still keep the Golden Fleece Award? Don't you do a regular award for misspending in America?
We do an annual rating of every member of Congress to see how they voted as our Taxpayers Fund Award. And we're actually wrapping up last year's vote, so we should have a new scorecard coming out in the next several weeks. So I'll have to share the list with you. A lot of good members that come on your program that receive A+.
We would love to have that. That's important to us. We care about that.
Only tell us the A+, because we want to keep them coming back on our show.
Definitely.
We might want to highlight those that have been misspending, too.
True.
Yeah. Tom Aiello, you guys at Nashville Taxpayers Union for years, all the time I've been in Washington, you have done such extraordinary work protecting the American taxpayer. Great to have you on the show today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. See you next time.
You as well. Great.